you doing? There's no doubt what we're covering today. Margaret Thatcher, right across all the papers and certainly globally. We're going to start, though, just in terms of the British press, because obviously the reaction there is probably of most interest to our viewers.
That's right, and the reaction is very divided, as you can imagine. We're going to start by looking at the left-leaning press, which you get the impression that they're trying to be as respectful and measured as possible. They're trying to distance themselves from these images of celebration that we've been seeing. So here's the front page of The Independent, very sober photo there of Margaret Thatcher, the woman who changed Britain. Also on the front page of The Guardian, which is a 16-page supplement today, this another very sober photo there of Margaret Thatcher, and this quote from one of her biographers, Hugo Young: "She became harder and harder." And inside The Guardian takes a look at her legacy, of this prime minister that changed Britain forever. And you see they have these great photos taken over her lifetime, the life of what they call a political warrior with a love of political combat. And in their editorial, The Guardian says that, well, the Thatcher revolution may have imposed on Britain the liberalization its economy needed, but at what cost? And it says that, well, her social legacy is very dark. Her social legacy is one of public division, private selfishness, and a cult of greed that shackles the human spirit. The Guardian says that there should be no dancing on her grave, but she does not deserve a state funeral.
So definite concern there. Quite the opposite, though, in the right-wing press. The legacy there is just purely all positive.
That's right. Here's the front page of the Daily Mail today. The woman who saved Britain. So very a smiley photo of Margaret Thatcher today. They have a 25-page special tribute edition. The Daily Telegraph as well, in their editorial, they call Thatcher the woman who made Britain great again. They say that her character was so unique that she would have been a giant in any age. They not only praise her economic policy, her place on the international stage, but also the fact that she raised the country from what they say was decline, despair, and demoralization. If Britain is still great, it's because of the greatest of Britons.
Well, we have seen obviously some scenes of the celebrating about her death, and that's been covered by some of the papers, notably one of the Irish papers.
That's right. The Irish Times comes back on these street parties that we've seen, with a photo taken in Brixton yesterday. They also come back on some of the reactions online, Twitter obviously, but also there was one website called isthatcherdead.co.uk that had nearly 200,000 likes just yesterday evening, and the site encouraged people to go out and party and actually provided a soundtrack. As you can imagine, though, this has drawn outrage from the right. If we look at the Daily Mail, there's an article that calls this the vile screech of hatred, with a photo of people partying there in Brixton. And I don't know if you can see the banner there, but a play on words on the witch is dead. And they say, according to the Daily Mail, that she stood up for ordinary Britons, and that's why the left still loathes her. The Daily Mail actually says that she does indeed deserve a state funeral. Now, state funerals are technically reserved for the monarch, but there have been some exceptions, notably Winston Churchill in 1965. She'll get the step down from that, which is a ceremonial funeral like Princess Diana, the Queen Mother, etc.
Still a costly affair, though.
Absolutely, and ironically, the taxpayer is actually going to have to pay for this, but a petition has been going around to make her funeral privatised.
Yeah, well, that's sure to cause more uproar among those who've been celebrating her death, I'm sure. Now, cartoonists have been having a field day with just reacting to her death, and drawings that once again show how divisive and polarised the Thatcherism is.
That's right. We'll start with a cartoon in The Independent where you see her famous handbag, quite dishevelled-looking handbag, with this written underneath it: "Look on my work, ye mighty, and despair." So that's a quote from a poem by Shelley. The Guardian also shows Margaret Thatcher arriving in hell, actually, where she says, "Why is this pit still open?" And you see the devils there crying in the background. The Daily Mail, though, obviously has a very different take on things. They actually pulled out a cartoon that they published in 1990 when she resigned.
Big shoes to fill, is it?
That's right. Well, big heels to fill in this case.
Big heels, sorry, not shoes.
And just finally, she might have been very divisive, but she also fueled a lot of creative energy. And Les Erocs here in France, a website, they've pulled out the top 10 best hate songs that were written for her. For instance, we can take a listen to Morrissey. He wrote a song called Margaret on the Guillotines.
Kind people have a wonderful dream. Margaret.
So actually that dream was, when will you die? We've been hearing this song a lot at those street parties we were talking about. I wonder how Morrissey feels today.
My goodness, I'm sure a lot of reaction will continue like that on both sides. As we say, it's a polarised reaction reflected in today's papers. Flo, thank you very much. Well, that was your International Press Review. Well, now let's get a reminder of our headline.